The whole reason that we're looking at this is more and more we've had people looking at the possibility of editing lectures, trimming off a little bit in the beginning, trimming off a little bit at the end, cutting some stuff out of the middle because we don't have a pause feature anymore, and just basically kind of doing some of those features. Other people are looking at breaking videos into chunks that are more manageable for student retention of key concepts. It's a Microsoft product. It can be web-based, and you can download it as an app. If you're on a BTC machine, you could actually search down here and start typing in Clipchamp, and you will see that it's an app on your machine. If you're not on a BTC machine, then you can go to the office.com, and let me see if I can navigate to that without getting into this bar here. You can go to office.com, which is basically your Microsoft 365. And then in the search, you can type Clipchamp, and there it is as the web-based app. Both of those will work today. So if you want to, while I'm kind of leading up to this, you can open up one of those two things and be ready to start with your first clip of editing. Here's what we're going to cover. We're going to import clips. So we'll bring in a video in this case today, but you can bring in images and audio the same exact way. We're going to trim down that video, starting with the beginning and ending of the clip. And you'll notice the terminology here that we're using. And then we will actually cut that clip where we take maybe the middle portion of it out. And then we make sure that the other two parts are together. And then finally, we'll look at publishing this. Like, how do we get it back to Blackboard? How do we get it to YouTube or wherever you want this video to live? How do you get that file to move it around? Okay, so here's the hands-on portion of this. And this is what I'm kind of excited about because it took me a while to come up with this idea. I have the video embedded in the document here, but if you click on the three dots, you will have the option to actually download the original file. And this is the beginning of it all here. This is how we go ahead and import a clip. Once you have this downloaded, you can do this 3 different ways. And actually, if I move too quickly on any of that, I made an example of a very short, focused video here of how to import your content to get started. I wanted to kind of demo that 2-minute quick blast of a key concept. And I actually used Clipchamp to create this video. It's a little bit of a look ahead to future things, future sessions that we might have with this. Okay, so you can reference this if I move along a little too quickly here. So let's assume that we all have downloaded that video clip and it is sitting in our downloads up here. So if you go up to your browser and you look at the downloads, or if you go to the File Explorer and that opens up and you go to downloads, you will see it in there. Okay. Now, once you have that video, instead of double clicking on it to just open it up in the media player that's built into your machine, we're going to right click on it. And once you right click on it, you're going to get a little list of things that you can do with this video. And one of them is open with. We are going to open it with Microsoft Clipchamp. Okay, so that's like the first and probably the easiest way with one screen to get your clip into Microsoft Clipchamp. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open that up. So let's go ahead and take a look at the second way that we can import media. Once you have the app open from within the app, just like if you open Microsoft Word first and then you navigate to your documents, we can go up here and we can click on My Media, which by default it kind of opens to, and you can click the drop down and you'll notice that OneDrive is listed there. They make it very connected with everything that we're doing. And we all know that our recordings land on the OneDrive in the recordings folder. So I've got that. I've got my recordings folder where all of our lectures go after we record in Teams. I would open that up, and that's how I could bring in a very specific file that I want to work with that way. Okay, so that's just another avenue. While I've got this window open, I'll show you the last and final way that you could bring something into Clipchamp. So this works really well if you're on 2 displays, just to be clear about this. If you're on 2 displays and you've already got a project open like this, maybe 1 second, there we are. I can always just grab a video and I can drag it into this area and then immediately work on it. That's very nice if you have 2 screens. Let's go ahead and start with the basic features. We should all be at this point. And let me get that video in here so you can see that. I'm going to go to my downloads and drag it right in here. Boom. And let's go ahead and close that out now and put this to full screen. There we go. So now when you get a video into this area, you'll notice that right now my timeline is empty. If you did the first method where you said edit with Clipchamp, it automatically adds it right to your timeline. If it's not down there, I just come up here and I click the little plus on the media that I want to add. And now it's in my timeline and it looks like this. I'm going to close this little side window here so that we can have more real estate to look at the important stuff here. There we are. Okay, so a bit of a preview of what we're looking at here. We've got more tools than what we really need right now. We're not even going to use this toolbar on the left right now. We're just starting off with the basics. I have my media that I've imported here on the left-hand side. At the top, I have my viewer. It will give me a good look at what is going on with the video. And I can drag this around so I can preview different parts of the video. This is how I would find those moments where I want to trim up to this point. I want to trim the back up to this point. I want to cut this middle part out. This is the playhead here that I am dragging around on the timeline to view those different things. Okay. Now, a few view things that might make this easier. Right now, we're working with a 3-minute video, and it very comfortably fits into the timeline. You're going to probably be working with more like a 60-minute or a 90-minute video. Down in the bottom right-hand corner, you can zoom out the timeline. So if I have a really long video in there, I can zoom this out so that it makes it more manageable to actually work with. On the other end of it, if I want to get detailed and I want to make sure that I'm cutting between words and things like that, I can zoom into that timeline and I can see more of the specifics of what's going on here. Okay, and then if you want to make it really simple, you just go ahead and fit your timeline to the window that's open right now, and it puts the whole video nicely into that space. And that's all kind of like the magnification view stuff that you've got going on down here. The first skill that I wanted to show you, aside from importing the content, is how do we trim things? So this is video editing terminology here. If I want to trim something, I have an in and I have an out on any clip that I bring into, any media that I bring into Clipchamp. What that means is those ins, I can take them and I can drag them. Okay, so you can see I can shorten this up. And I'm going to do exactly what it says at the beginning here, which is we're going to trim off all of the video up to the point. Well, look at that. It says trim intro, and it tells me to discard it. Now, if I want to kind of fine tune this, once I find that spot that's like really close to in between the two spots here, I can drag that playhead, and then I can use my arrows actually to go frame by frame to figure out exactly where I would want to cut that. So in this case, I'm going to grab the end of the clip and I'm going to trim off the beginning. Grab the end, drag that right up to the playhead like so. It's kind of nice because it does actually turn purple as you hit the playhead. So you know you're exactly on the mark that you picked, which is nice. This is, honestly, these are the features that aren't in Yuja. And in my opinion, that's why it's a pretty outdated kind of video editor and it's challenging to use. Now, I've trimmed off that beginning part, and you'll notice when I mouse over to the left here, it says, hey, there's this big gap that's in the beginning. I can go ahead and delete that gap like so, and it takes my whole video clip and it moves it over. We trimmed off something on the front end of the clip. Let's go to the other end of the clip. I'm going to just drag the playhead over there. I'm going to do exactly what the video is kind of telling me. It says every edit is a chance to make learning stick. Oh, look at that. I snuck little learning things in there. Oh, I am tricky. Okay, so I go ahead and put the playhead at the end. And again, you can use your arrows to kind of fine tune this and find exactly what frame we want to cut up to. So I place the playhead. I grab the out, which is the end anchor point, drag that up, and you'll see the perfect line when I connect to it. And now we have trimmed the in and the out of the video. So trimming. We imported, we trimmed, and now we're going to cut. So I'm going to take the playhead and I want to cut out a middle portion of the clip here. So you can see this aqua colored teal aqua colored. Yeah, there we go. We want to cut this portion out in the middle. This is like when you can't pause, or when you have an activity that's going on, or you're answering a whole slew of questions in the middle of your lecture. You don't need it in there, and it's adding a lot of extra time, and it's stuff that students have to skip by. We're going to cut that out. So I'm going to take the playhead. I'm going to move it to the beginning of that section. And I'm going to get really close. And then I'm going to just use those arrows to find exactly that point that we want to cut out. So I want to cut this out right there. Different tool that we're going to use now, because you'll notice we don't have an anchor point in the middle. So I'm going to use the scissors. The scissors are over here. I can do this one of two ways. I like quick keys, but I'll show the tool first. I can click on the scissors once my playhead is in place, and it will cut. And now you'll notice I've got that clip at the beginning, and I've got a separate clip now. Now, there's a couple ways that I can do this. You'll see I've got an anchor point here. I can grab that anchor point and I can trim this right back to where I need to go, like that. Or if you're a little worried about losing some stuff, you can go with the playhead right up to that point, use those arrows to fine tune, and now I hit the scissors again to cut. What I essentially did is I isolated that part in the middle that I want to get rid of. I'm going to select it now that it's isolated, and I can do this a couple different ways. I can I? Yeah, I can just hit the delete button here to trash that. So I'll do that again. In case you accidentally delete something that you don't want to delete, up in the top left of your little work area here by the viewer, you have an undo, or you can use Control-Z. And I go back and I say, oh, that wasn't exactly what I want. I can make a little adjustments here, make sure that it's selected, and then backspace to delete it out of there. Boom, it's gone. Now it leaves behind this gap that's in here. If I play my video now, it will literally be playing along. I'll have that orange background, and then I'll get to this point, and there's going to be nothing going on. It's going to continue playing, though, with the black screen. It's kind of annoying. So I'm going to delete that gap out of there. And now I have one continuous video where I trimmed off the beginning, trimmed off the end, and cut something out of the middle, and it's all prepped. It took me just a few minutes. Now, I think this is the workflow that we want to kind of get used to. And I think once you get used to this, you can literally take a lecture and probably cut it in 5 minutes. I've got the video edited and I've got 6 minutes left, so I want to be aware of the time. Now I need to get this video out of here in a way that I can actually use it in my Blackboard shell. So I'm not going to worry. I've got everything put together, all good. I'm going to go up to the top right corner here. You'll see the export button. This is where we can make sure that we export this as a new video that doesn't impact the old one. So I go up to export, boom. And I've got a couple different options. Now, when we record, the nice part is this is all default. So you don't really have to think about this a whole lot, especially if you're like, oh, I'm not really familiar with these settings in the video. By default, it's set to 1080, which is exactly the screen resolution that Teams records at, which is perfect. I'm going to give my file a name, though, and I'm going to say that this is my example Clipchamp. Oh, and instead of storing it in the cloud here, I can store it in the cloud where it goes back to the OneDrive. It's going to have a little bit of a download period and all of that. Either way I do this, I usually just put the videos right to my desktop so that I can quickly drag them to Yuja. However you want to do that, Yuja is going to be the landing place for this video in the end of it all anyway. So whatever you're more comfortable with, I'm going to uncheck that. Okay. Now, we don't know where it's being stored at. That's going to be that next step. So when I hit export, it starts that process of doing the export. This is the only part that I caution people on. Right now, my video is being exported, but I haven't technically saved it to my computer anywhere yet. So I'm going to get to that. You can see I've got 2 minutes remaining on the export. And then you can kind of track that along here. It does say if you keep this window open that it does work faster because it makes the priority the editing app, which means that it has more processing power than the other apps at this point. So 1 minute and 30 seconds here to burn. When I'm done with this, I'm going to take this video that I'm going to save to my computer and I'm going to add it right back to my Blackboard shell. So maybe while I'm waiting for this, I minimize out of this and I open up my browser. And in my browser, I get to a point where I want to actually post this. So right now we're looking at the faculty resources. I'm going to use this as an example so you can see it in real time. I'll scroll down to the bottom here and oh, look, video coming soon. Let's edit that content. And I'm going to go to the plus sign. And this part is really not changed at all. I go to add some content in here. I go to the plus sign and the content market. This is where we use that good old Usia Media Chooser. So it loads up and I get to the bottom, Usia Media Chooser. It's going to bring up my media area here. And this is where I'm going to streamline things a little bit. Amber and I have been talking about, oh, we could make this a lot easier. Instead of going to Usia as like a separate website and all that, we can actually upload media right here with that tab. So I go to my Usia Media Chooser and I'm going to upload the media that's saving to my computer presently. Let's go back and see how Clipchamp is doing. I'm going to come back to this window just so you know. So let's see where we're at here in this process. Hey, your video is ready. Let's save it to my computer. Boom. Okay, let's put it right to my desktop so I can make this easy. Okay, example Clipchamp and save. Video is saved. It's literally, it makes it a much smaller video. It's a much easier quality of video for streaming as well. So your students will like that, especially if they have bad internet. Okay, now it's saved to my computer. Go back to my course. Here's that window. I'm still in Usia Media Chooser. I'm going to upload that media, choose media, and go to my desktop. And there it is, Clipchamp. And actually, let's go to example Clipchamp. That's the one I edited. And open. Okay, and upload media files that are compatible with VR devices. Don't need to do that. Let's upload that media. Check. Upload. Okay. Now it's doing that process that we normally do in Usia, where you either drag the video in there or you upload the video there. Either way, it's going to add right into my media area. And now it's processing, but even though it's processing, let's go ahead and choose it. And let's insert that content right into my Blackboard shell. Insert. Ooh, and I give it a name. Let's just put spaces in here. Good. Maybe in the right place. Good. And insert. Okay, so it's looking like this because it's still processing. So got to give it a moment for it to do its magic here. But all of that happened right inside of the Blackboard shell here. I never went to Usia directly as like opening up another tab or anything like that. So I just to clarify here, plus sign, content, content market, Usia Media Chooser. I did the upload feature. So once that opens, I did the upload media tab, chose my media, which I exported to my desktop, went to the Clipchamp video that I exported here, the one that's all edited. I opened that up and then I immediately added it right to the course. And I did that all from inside the Blackboard shell, which is really super handy. Okay, I'm going to close out of that so I don't have two videos of the same thing in there.
So is that video now being saved in Usia?
Yep. So if I wanted to double check, and I like your thinking because I'd be a little worried too, like, well, it's on my OneDrive still, but that's not the edited one. Is it in my Usia library? Let me go there and double check here. So I go to Usia. and I take a look at my media, and boom, there it is. Now, if you want to get organized, back in user or anything like that, you can choose the folders that you want to put it into. But now I know that 1 minute and 45 seconds of editing wonder here is like saved, and it will be there for all time. Just to be clear, Clipchamp is strictly a video editing app. That's what it does. Now, I'm kind of doing a look ahead, just so you know, we did the video editing, but we did the basics of it. I mean, like the very basics of it, which is awesome. We got a good start. We could actually make this work for us starting tomorrow here. But if you want to practice the clip, you can download it. If you want to see that import process again, here's the video that breaks it down into 2 minutes. And then I'll post the video of what we recorded here so that you can see it in real time. And here's what we've got for future exploration, just to bring this all to a close. You can create content with Clipchamp as well. So if you want to do screen recordings with your face, kind of like this, you can do that as well with Clipchamp. So if some of you use Teams to do screen recordings on your own time when you're not in front of the class, and you use that as content for students to access, you can use Clipchamp for that. And it's really slick, actually. It's very quick. It's easy to use. And you can do text to speech. You can do AI powered auto caption. So it's all, accessibility wise, it's all good. There's stock media stuff that's in there for visuals, video, and audio. And it all integrates with all of our Microsoft 365 suite. So those are some future things that we're going to explore. Well, thank you for joining us today, and thanks for going through Clipchamp. And if you want to follow up with this or look at it or walk through it, on a one-on-one or anything like that, just reach out to me and we will connect to go through that.